Disney's Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, there was a spoiled, selfish young prince who lived in a shining castle with many servants. One winter night, an old beggar woman came to the castle and offered the prince a single red rose in return for shelter from the cold. The prince turned her away because of her ugly appearance. She told him that beauty can be found within, but he still refused her. Right before the prince's eyes, the old hag changed into a beautiful enchantress. To punish the prince, she transformed him into a hideous beast and changed all his servants into objects. He was to remain in his castle with a magic mirror as his only window to the outside world. She left a rose with him, explaining that this enchanted rose would bloom until his 21st birthday. Then it would wither. If he could learn to love another and earn her love in return before the rose withered, the spell would be broken. If not, he would remain a beast forever. Many years passed. In a nearby village, there lived a young woman named Belle. She was the kindest and most beautiful girl in the village, although she spent most of her time taking care of her father, Maurice, a hard-working but unsuccessful inventor. She loved to read more than anything else, and she spent many happy hours visiting the bookseller's shop. In this same village there also lived a handsome hunter named Gaston, who was struck by Belle's beauty and sweetness. One afternoon, Gaston caught up with Belle on her way home from the bookstore. "Hello, Belle," he said. "Oh, hello, Gaston," Belle replied. Gaston always boasted to the townspeople that he was going to marry Belle, but Belle was simply not interested in this selfish and conceited man, handsome or not. When Belle got home, she found her father very excited. He was going to enter his latest invention in a contest at the fair. "If I win this contest," said Maurice, "we will never have to worry about money again." Belle's father loaded his invention into a wagon and rode off on Philippe, the family horse. "Good luck, Papa!" shouted Belle. Maurice and Philip entered the dark forest and soon lost their way. "We must have missed the turn," said Maurice, sadly. Suddenly, they were attacked by a pack of wolves. Maurice was thrown to the ground, and Philip galloped back toward the village. Maurice ran from the wolves until he reached the open gate of a scary-looking castle. He dashed inside and pulled the gate closed just before the wolves could reach him. Inside the creepy old castle, Maurice was amazed. All the objects he saw could speak. "You are lucky to have escaped those wolves," said Lumiere, a very polite candelabra. "You are alive!" exclaimed Maurice. "That's incredible!" "Shh! Be quiet!" warned Cogsworth, the fussy old mantel clock. "You'll wake the master." "Come sit by the fire," offered Lumiere. Maurice sank into the chair, exhausted. "Care for some tea?" asked Miss Potts, the teapot. "That's a good idea," added Chip, the spunky teacup. "No!" yelled Cogsworth. "No tea! The master will find out. We've got to get him out of here." "Oh, be quiet," said Miss Potts. She served Maurice a nice hot cup of tea. But as Maurice sipped his tea, the dining room door flew open, and there stood the beast. The spoiled prince had grown into a horrible creature, with filthy fur, long fangs, and sharp claws. "What are you doing here?" roared the beast. Before Maurice could explain, he was locked up in the beast's dungeon. Meanwhile, back at the village, Gaston was still trying to convince Belle that she would be the luckiest girl in town if she would agree to marry him. Once again she refused and sent Gaston on his way. Moments after Gaston left, Philip came galloping up to Belle's house. "What's wrong, Philip?" asked Belle. "Where's Papa?" Belle jumped onto Philip and rode off to find her father. Philip brought Belle to the forest as fast as he could. Through the mist, Belle saw the old castle gates. Fearfully, she went inside. As Belle moved through the castle, searching for her father, she was spotted by Chip. "Mama, there's a girl in the castle," announced Chip excitedly to his mother, Miss Potts. Soon all the objects knew about Belle. "She's the one," said Lumineer, "the girl who has come to break the spell." Belle found Maurice in his dungeon cell. "Papa," she cried, "we have to get you out of here." A shadow fell over Belle. When she turned around, she was face to face with the beast. Belle agreed to stay as the beast's prisoner in return for her father's freedom. Heartbroken, Maurice left the castle, and the beast showed Belle to her own room. She would not be kept in the dungeon, and she would be free to go anywhere in the castle, except the beast's lair. The objects in the castle were all very excited. They knew that if the beast and Belle could fall in love, the enchantress's spell would be broken, and they all would become human again. "Now let's see, what dress would you like to wear for dinner?" said the wardrobe in Belle's room. "I'm trying to tell you I'm not going to dinner," shouted Belle. "I'm his prisoner, not his guest." Back in town, Maurice ran to the local tavern to tell the townspeople about Belle and the beast. No one believed him. They all thought he was just a crazy old man who was getting crazier every day. Gaston was in the tavern too. He thought. Everyone thinks the old man is crazy. That gives me an idea that can force Belle to be my wife. While the beast was away from the castle, Belle grew hungry. The objects served her a magnificent dinner. After dinner, she explored the castle and found the beast's forbidden lair, which he had warned her about. The beast returned and surprised Belle in his room. "I told you never to come here," he bellowed. "Now get out!" Belle ran from the beast's castle. When she reached the dark and misty forest, she was suddenly attacked by the same wolves that had attacked her father. From out of nowhere appeared the beast. No match for his incredible strength, the wolves soon ran off into the forest. Belle was safe. "You're wounded," cried Belle, when she came over to thank the beast for saving her life. "Here, let me help you back to the castle." Belle nursed the beast back to health, and the two began to grow fond of each other. He showed Belle his huge library, and she spent hours reading books to him. She showed him proper table manners, and even taught him to dance. Slowly, the beast was becoming more human, and with every day, Belle's affection for him grew. The beast showed Belle his magic mirror. With it, he could see anywhere in the whole wide world. When Belle asked to see her father, she saw that he was very sick and lost in the woods, searching for her. "I've got to go help him," cried Belle. "Leave if you must," said the beast, feeling affection that only one human being can feel for another. He glanced at his enchanted rose. Only 2 petals remained. The beast let Belle keep his magic mirror. She found her father and took him home. Suddenly, Gaston showed up with a crowd of townspeople. "If you do not marry me," he whispered to Belle, "then I will prove once and for all your father is crazy with his ravings about a beast. He will be locked away." "But there is a beast," said Belle, "and I will never marry you." Gaston told the crowd that Maurice was crazy, but Belle used the mirror to show them the beast. "The beast is real," cried all the townspeople. "And dangerous," added Gaston quickly. "He will come and attack your children. Come with me. He must be destroyed." Gaston locked Belle and Maurice in their cellar and led the townspeople to attack the beast. Chip, the teacup, had snuck into Belle's saddlebag when she left the beast's castle. He now climbed out of the cellar window and used Maurice's invention to free them. "We've got to go help the beast," cried Belle, plucking Chip off the invention. She and Maurice jumped onto Philip and rode off after the angry mob. When Belle reached the castle, she found Gaston in the beast's powerful grip. The two were on the castle's roof. "Please don't hurt me," begged Gaston. When the beast saw Belle, he remembered the kindness and mercy she had taught him, and let Gaston drop to the roof. But then the treacherous Gaston pulled out a knife and stabbed the beast in the back, and the beast howled in pain. Gaston lost his footing on the slippery roof and tumbled off. Belle rushed over to the beast as the final petal was about to fall from the rose. His time was just about run out. "I love you," whispered Belle, breaking the enchantress's spell. Magically, the wounded beast turned back into a healthy, handsome prince. All of the objects in his castle became human beings again, too, and Belle and the prince lived happily ever after. The end. Thanks so much for joining us for another story. If you have recommendations of something you'd like me to read next, please leave it in the comments down below.